Radiant Black, issue number 26 from Image Comics. So there are two current ongoing Radiant Black timelines, I guess you can say. There's one where Marshall is the Radiant Black, and then there's one where Nathan is the Radiant Black. So there's actually two issue 26. There's issue 26 regular, I guess technically issue 26A, but it's just called issue 26. And then there's issue 26B. So the one I'm going to be doing is the one where Marshall is the Radiance. I don't know if I'm going to cover the one where Nathan is the Radiant, just because I don't like Nathan. I can't stand him. So I don't know if I want to follow his timeline. But if you guys want me to do reviews for him, I guess just let me know and I'll think about it. But yeah, we're going to be following Marshall's timeline. So I think Marshall's timeline is the regular issue number. So issue 26 is Marshall. Issue 26B is Nathan. I do think, one, this is an interesting idea. I mean, it's, you had a poll to see who the Radiant Black would be, and then you're doing two separate timelines, and then I guess at the end of this little timeline, the Catalyst War, they're going to reveal who the true winner is. I'm still hoping it's Marshall. I will just say, though, that charging $4 per issue is kind of lame. It's kind of weak to be doing that to the readers, just so that they can get the entire story. So what I would have done instead was, be nice to your readers. And then for this whole 26A, 26B, just charge $2 for each issue. So that way both issues combined is equal to one issue in terms of price. But whatever. That's not what you guys are here. You guys are here for the actual issue. So let's just dive right in. So in the last issue, the one that I covered, Marshall is the one that gets the powers, and that's when a flood of robots start invading Chicago. And all these robots are here to challenge Radiant Black. So Marshall, since this is the timeline we're following, Marshall has to fight them. He has to fight this army led by Premier. And if he loses, then he will be killed. And unfortunately also, the test, since it's a battleground within the city, civilians are involved. They're not involved in the test, but they're there, in the background. So there could be civilian casualties as collateral damage. In fact, Marshall is like, okay, I think I know the perfect place for the battleground to be. There's this city nearby, and everyone was evacuated. The only people that are still there are people that are stuck in traffic. So what he decides to do is he decides to call up Radiant Pink and have her teleport all the people stuck in traffic to a farm. So she does that, drains all her power, knocks her out. But now there's no civilians within the city. And now Marshall is able to just go all out against these robots. And that's pretty much what the rest of this issue is. The rest of this issue is just a huge battleground while Marshall is taking out all these robots on his own. So the first half of the issue is pretty much just like the setup. It's just 001 telling Marshall, hey, here's the challenge you got to do. They go to the flagship. He meets Premier. Marshall's Colossus, the Radiant Black Colossus, does some kind of weird conversation with Premier, accepts that Marshall is Radiant Black, and then the challenge begins. Yeah, it's just Marshall going around fighting a bunch of robots, and then a giant airborne fleet of helicopters show up, and it's the post office. Why the post office has a bunch of military helicopters, I don't know. But yeah, it's basically the post office and Marshall taking out all these robot armies, or at least trying to take out all these robot armies as a test. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to reveal how it goes or anything like that because I don't want to spoil everything. But if you're interested in just a long fight scene, that's pretty much what you get. Like half the issue is the fight, first half is the setup, second half is the fight. So that was kind of cool. I will say that I feel like this series is just heading in a direction I'm not really happy with. I don't care for this whole invading fleets, post-apocalyptic kind of situation. I feel like everything's just getting really crazy and hectic. And I feel like we just kind of skipped so many steps. I don't know. I would have liked the You might say it's kind of cliche or typical, whatever. But I would have liked it. I've said this before. If we had our character, they discover the powers, the Radiant Black powers, they get it. And then we just have issues where they're like struggling to learn these powers, struggling to use it, to master it. And then they're taking out like low level thugs. And then, they think, okay, we got the hang of it. We can do this. And then that's when you get like maybe like some alien invaders every once in a while show up and they're not ready for it. Like they lose the first couple battles. And then they have to like really discover, like they find out, okay, what we mastered is good for street level thugs, but we gotta really find out what the suits can do. And so they're trying to like really test out the suit, try to discover some new abilities that they might have that they haven't discovered yet, and then start introducing tougher enemies. So basically, every time they get a little bit stronger, you throw in an enemy that's just a little bit tougher, so that they lose, and then they have to come back, get an ability or master an ability or a strategy that's able to take out that enemy. Things go good for a while, tougher enemy, and you just keep doing that until you build up to this alien invasion. But instead, we just kind of had things just thrown at the wall. Like we started off where our main character did nothing. The only thing they did with the suit was they helped carry a family's car that had a flat tire. And then all of a sudden they fight another Radiant. And then they fight some alien that is tough enough to beat all 5 of them, but then they easily beat the alien. And then we get street level thugs. And now we got an alien invasion. It's like it just keeps jumping between different enemy levels. And because of that, it feels like it's all over the place. So I would have liked it if you just slow burn up until we get the alien invasion. So slow burn, tougher enemies getting introduced, but it's like this enemy is tougher than the previous one. And then the next enemy that comes in is tougher than that one. And then we just slowly build up until we get to alien invasion. But now it's like we just got alien invasion, but we have these characters fighting over who's going to be the Radiants. For a tokusatsu series that seems to be inspired by Power Rangers, there's not much teamwork being done. Yeah, Ava shows up to teleport everybody, but she doesn't help in the robot fight. And I get it. You're going to say, well, the test was for Marshall only. I understand that. But it still feels like we have other Radiants, and they don't really seem to be doing anything to stop this alien invasion. I guess you can say, oh my god, what the hell was his name? Was it Winston? What was the name of Radiant Yellow? I completely brain farted on him. Radiant Yellow seems to be doing something, like in terms of like he's trying to gather all this information, like using his powers. He's trying to get like future insight to try to find a timeline that will help prevent the apocalypse. So he's doing something. But what the hell is Radiant Red doing? What is Radiant Pink doing other than teleporting this alien invasion? She had no idea that there was an alien invasion going down until Marshall called her. So it's just kind of like, it feels weird because it's like you have like these Radiant groups, but they're not working as a group. And you would think that they would. Like you had team ups when they were fighting street level criminals, but when they're fighting aliens, they don't really seem to team up all that much. And this is kind of like, that feels ass backwards. So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling about that. Like I said, like I enjoyed this issue, but I feel like it's starting to just dip into territory that I'm not too big of a fan of. I don't really care for the whole alien invasion stuff yet. I feel like we haven't worked to that. It just feels kind of out of nowhere. And so yeah, but if you take that out, if you're into the whole alien invasion thing, then I think you will like this issue. And yeah, there you go. There's Radiant Black, issue number 26. There's Marshall's story. If you want me to do Nathan's, I guess let me know. I'll think about it. I really can't stand Nathan, which is funny because you would think out of everyone that I can relate to, it would be him, since he's a screenwriter and I am a screenwriter. But he just has a very, I don't know, I don't want to say unlockable character. He just seems very bland and boring. Marshall seems to be the one that just, he makes it a better, more interesting character because he has flaws. Not just in the sense of being a Radiant, but just like his personality, his history. He's like someone that no one really ever saw much in him. Like he doesn't really have much going for him. And now he has these powers and he has the weight of the world on his shoulders and he finally feels like, okay, now I have a purpose in life, and that's to protect Earth. So he seems like more interesting. Whereas Nathan is just, yeah, I want to be a screenwriter. I want to make it in Hollywood. And it's like, okay, you have these superpowers, but they're not your main focus. Your main focus is trying to work in Hollywood. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? If I suddenly developed superpowers, I would quit being a screenwriter. Are you kidding me? As much as I love writing, I'm not a big fan of dealing with Hollywood studios or producers or stuff. That can get really crazy and just, yeah, that has its own problems, especially with modern day Hollywood. I would rather be a superhero, but whatever. I'm just rambling on that. So yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.